I stared at my phone screen reading Dad's text for the third time. The words hadn't changed. "You're dead to me. Talk to my lawyer." Below it, Mom had added her own message. "We're done enabling your failures. Don't contact us again." I was sitting in my corner office on the 47th floor of the Morrison Financial Tower in downtown Seattle. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the city sprawling below, the late afternoon sun turning Puget Sound into liquid gold. My assistant had just brought me the quarterly reports showing my investment firm had cleared $23 million in profits. I typed back a single word, "Okay." Then I made a phone call that would change everything. Growing up, I was the disappointment. My older brother Marcus was the golden child. Varsity football, business degree from Stanford, married to a lawyer, 2 perfect kids. My younger sister Ashley was the creative darling. Art school graduate, boutique owner, Mom's shopping companion and best friend. And then there was me. The middle child who wasted her college education on finance instead of joining the family real estate business. The daughter who chose a boring corporate job over marriage and grandchildren. The one who lived in a depressing apartment instead of the suburbs. What they didn't know was that my boring corporate job had evolved considerably over the past 8 years. I started as a junior analyst at Morrison Financial straight out of college. I was good with numbers. Really good. I could see patterns in market data that others missed, could predict shifts before they happened. Within 3 years, I was managing a $50 million portfolio. Within 5, I was a partner with my own division. By year 7, I'd quietly launched my own subsidiary, Wells Capital Management. We specialized in identifying undervalued tech startups and providing strategic growth capital. Our success rate was 87%, unheard of in venture capital. I was 34 years old and worth $180 million personally. My family knew none of this. To them, I was still Sarah the analyst who pushed papers for rich people. I kept it that way intentionally, because for the past 6 years, I'd been running a very different kind of investment strategy. I'd been keeping my family afloat. It started small. Dad called 6 years ago, voice tight with stress. "Sarah, the real estate market's brutal right now. Your mother and I are struggling with the mortgage. Just for a few months, could you help with $2,000? I sent $2,500 that day. The few months became permanent. Every month, like clockwork, I transferred $2,800 to cover their mortgage. They never asked where the money came from. They never said thank you beyond that first week. Then came Marcus's business troubles. His luxury car dealership was bleeding money, but he was too proud to admit it. When he casually mentioned he might lose his house, I quietly paid off his $180,000 mortgage. I had my attorney structure it as an anonymous benefactor program through a shell company. Ashley's boutique was failing before it even opened. She needed $75,000 for inventory and rent. I provided it as a small business grant from a fictional foundation. She believed she'd won some kind of lottery. Over 6 years, I'd provided monthly mortgage payments. $2,800 times 72 months equals $201,600. Utilities for my parents. $400 times 72 months equals $28,800. Marcus's mortgage payoff. $180,000. Ashley's business funding. $75,000. Dad's car lease payments. $850 times 72 months equals $61,200. Emergency loans that were never repaid. $38,400. Mom's medical bills. $23,000. Total, $608,000. I kept meticulous records. Every wire transfer. Every payment confirmation. Every text message thanking me for temporary help. They thought I was barely scraping by. I let them think it, because every family dinner gave me more data. Every dismissive comment showed me who they really were. Every time they bragged about Marcus's success or Ashley's independence, while I sat silently, I was watching. Waiting. 3 months ago, things started shifting. Marcus called me for the first time in a year. "Hey Sarah, listen, Ashley and I were talking. We're concerned about Mom and Dad's retirement planning. We think they need better financial guidance." "Okay," I said carefully. "What kind of guidance?" "Well, you work in finance, right? Maybe you could review their portfolio, give them some basic advice. They've been making some risky investments lately." I almost laughed. Their portfolio was the monthly support check I sent them. I can look into it, I said. Great. And hey, keep it simple, yeah? No complicated financial jargon. You know how Dad gets. The condescension was so casual he didn't even realize he was doing it. 2 weeks later I was at Sunday dinner. All of us gathered at my parents' house, the house I was paying for. Marcus was talking about his dealership's record quarter. Ashley was showing off photos from her boutique's expansion. My parents were beaming. Sarah, honey, Mom said, finally acknowledging me. How's work? Still doing that analysis thing. It's going well, I said. That's nice. She turned back to Ashley. Now about your fall fashion line. I excused myself to use the bathroom. On the way I passed Dad's home office. The door was open. I glanced inside and froze. On his desk were bank statements. Lots of them. My monthly transfers were highlighted. And beside them was a handwritten note. S's contribution. Enough for down payment on Lake House? They weren't struggling. They were using my support money as extra cash for luxuries. I took a photo with my phone and returned to dinner. That night I started digging deeper. I had access to forensic accounting resources through my firm. I hired a private investigator. What I found made my blood run cold. The PI's report arrived 2 weeks ago. It was 47 pages long. Finding number 1. Mom and Dad had opened 3 credit cards in my name over the past 4 years. Total debt, $67,000. They'd been making minimum payments using the money I sent them. Finding number 2. Marcus had taken out a business loan using me as a co-signer. I'd never signed anything. The signature was forged. Amount, $142,000. Finding number 3. Ashley's boutique was registered under my social security number as a silent partner. Any business debts or liabilities would fall on me. She already owed suppliers $38,000. Finding number 4. My parents had told extended family I was contributing to a family investment fund that they were managing. 6 relatives had invested money, over $200,000 total, believing I was the financial genius behind it. My parents had spent most of it. My credit score had dropped 120 points. I had collections notices I'd never seen because they were going to an old address. My parents' house where they were intercepting my mail. I sat in my office, hands shaking, reading page after page of documentation. Identity theft. Fraud. Forgery. And they'd done it all while calling me the family disappointment. I called my attorney, then my forensic accountant, then my bank president. How would you like to proceed, Ms. Wells? My attorney asked. Carefully, I said. And completely. The text came last Tuesday during a board meeting. Dad, family meeting this Sunday. 2 p.m. Don't be late for once. Me, what's it about? Dad, your attitude. We need to discuss your lack of contribution to this family. I stared at my phone in disbelief. My lack of contribution. Me, I'll be there. Sunday arrived. I drove to their house in my old Honda, the car I kept specifically for family visits. My actual car, a Mercedes S-Class, stayed hidden in my building's garage. I arrived exactly at 2 p.m. Everyone was already there, seated around the dining room table like a tribunal. Marcus at Dad's right hand. Ashley beside Mom. And one empty chair for me. Sarah, sit down, Dad said. Not, hello. Not, how are you? I sat. We've been talking, Mom began, glancing at a notepad. As a family, we're concerned about your future. You're 34, unmarried, no children, living in that cramped apartment. I'm concerned about your financial irresponsibility, Dad cut in. You make decent money, or so you claim, but you never help this family. Meanwhile, your brother and sister both contribute significantly. Marcus nodded. I just paid for their new roof. $18,000. Ashley added, and I've been covering Mom's shopping trips and spa days. They were using my money to pay for things and claiming it as their own contributions. The audacity was breathtaking. While you, Dad continued, pointing at me, take and take. We raised you, paid for your education, gave you every opportunity. And what do we get back? Nothing. Just attitude and excuses. I see, I said quietly. We've decided, Mom said, trying to sound gentle, that it's time for some tough love. You need to learn responsibility. So we're cutting you off. No more family support, no more safety net. You're on your own until you learn to contribute like an adult. The irony was so profound I nearly laughed. Cutting me off from what, exactly? I asked. From family resources, Marcus said. From our help, our connections, our support. And, Dad added, pulling out a document, we're asking you to sign this. It's a formal acknowledgement that you owe this family for years of support. When you finally get your act together financially, you'll pay us back. He slid the paper across the table. It was a promissory note for $50,000. For what? I asked. All the dinners, the gifts, the emotional labor of dealing with your failures, Ashley said. We calculated it. I looked at each of them. Really looked at them. My father wearing the watch I'd bought him for his birthday, claiming I owed him. My mother in the designer purse I'd sent for Christmas, saying I never contributed. My siblings, living in homes I'd secretly saved, calling me irresponsible. I pulled out my phone. I'm not signing that, I said calmly. Then you're not welcome here anymore, Dad said, standing. I'm done enabling your selfishness. You're dead to me. Talk to my lawyer if you want to contest this. Mom didn't even look at me. Don't contact us again, Sarah. I stood. Walked to the door. Turned back. Hey, I said. I drove back to my real apartment, the penthouse condo they'd never seen. I sat in my living room looking out at the city lights. Then I made the calls. Monday morning, 8 a.m. My attorney's office. Talk me through the options, I said. James Chin, my attorney, had represented me for 5 years. He'd helped structure my business acquisitions, my real estate holdings, my investment vehicles. He knew exactly what I was worth and what I could do. Option 1. Criminal charges. The identity theft alone is federal. Add the forgery, the fraud, your parents could face serious prison time. Your brother too. Option 2. Civil recovery. Sue for damages, emotional distress, credit repair costs. You'd win everything and destroy them financially. Option 3. He smiled slightly. The one you're actually considering. Complete financial withdrawal. Cut every support stream, call in every debt they don't know they owe, and watch the house of cards collapse. It's legal, it's clean, and it's utterly devastating. How long would it take? For them to feel it? 48 hours. For complete collapse? 30 days. Let's begin. First call. My bank president, Richard Morrison. Yes, the Morrison from Morrison Financial Tower. Richard, I need to execute withdrawal protocols on all support transfers I've outlined in this list. Effective when? Immediately. Also, I need you to personally call the recipients in exactly 48 hours. Inform them that the anonymous funding they've been receiving has been permanently discontinued due to recipient breach of terms. Done. Anything else? Yes. I'll need forensic documentation of all fraudulent accounts opened in my name. Full legal prosecution package. Second call. My forensic accountant, Patricia Huang. Patricia, the family investigation. I need the full report formatted for federal review. Everything. The identity theft, the forged signatures, the credit card fraud, all of it. You're going forward with charges? Not yet. But I want the option ready. Third call. My investment firm's legal department. I need to dissolve any and all shell companies that have been providing anonymous support to the following individuals and businesses. Fourth call. The private investigator. One more task. I need continuous monitoring of my family's financial activities starting now. I want to know the moment they realize what's happening. By Monday evening, every safety net I'd secretly placed under my family was being systematically removed. The monthly mortgage payments? Stopped. The utility support? Gone. Marcus's dealership lease payments I'd been covering through a third-party vendor? Discontinued. Ashley's boutique's angel investor fund? Dissolved. The credit cards in my name? Reported to authorities with full documentation of fraud. The forged business loan? Legal notice of fraud filed with the bank. And the $200,000 my parents had taken from relatives as family investment fund? I prepared a detailed report for each investor showing exactly where their money went. My parents' new outdoor kitchen, their cruise to Alaska, their lake house down payment. Then I waited. Wednesday. 11:47 a.m. My phone rang. I didn't answer. She called again. 4 times in 3 minutes. Then a text, Sarah, call me right now. I was in a meeting with a tech startup CEO seeking $15 million in Series B funding. I silenced my phone and continued the presentation. After the meeting, I had 23 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Marcus, Ashley. A few numbers I didn't recognize. My voicemail was full. I listened to Mom's first message. Sarah, I don't know what you did, but you need to fix it immediately. The bank called. They said our mortgage payment was rejected. Call me back right now. The second message 3 hours later, Dad's voice. Sarah, this isn't funny. Our credit cards were declined at the grocery store. The bank is saying something about fraud investigation. You need to explain what's happening. The fifth message, Marcus panicked. Sarah, what the hell is going on? The dealership's lease payment bounced. They're threatening repossession of the entire inventory. And some investigator came by asking about a loan I supposedly co-signed with you? Call me. The 10th message, Ashley crying. Sarah, please, my boutique's accounts are frozen. They're saying something about fraudulent business registration. I don't understand. Please call me back. I deleted them all. Thursday morning, Richard Morrison called me. I made the notification calls as requested, he said. Your mother hung up on me. Your father demanded to speak to my supervisor. Your brother threatened legal action. And their accounts? Frozen pending fraud investigation. The credit cards in your name have been flagged. Federal investigators have been notified of the identity theft. It's moving quickly. Thank you, Richard. Sarah, he said carefully, they're going to come for you. You understand that? I'm counting on it. Friday afternoon they proved him right. I was in my office when my assistant buzzed. Ms. Wells, there are 3 people in the lobby demanding to see you. They say they're family. Security is with them. Send them up. And please record this meeting per company protocol. I stood at my window looking out at the city when the door opened. They stopped in the doorway staring. At the corner office. At the view. At the nameplate on my desk. Sarah Wells, Managing Partner, Wells Capital Management. What? Mom's voice trailed off. Please sit, I said, gesturing to the conference table. They sat slowly, looking around like they'd entered an alternate dimension. What is this? Dad demanded. What kind of game are you playing? No game, I said calmly. I opened my laptop and projected spreadsheets onto the large screen on the wall. This is my company, Wells Capital Management. We manage $2.3 billion in assets. I founded it 7 years ago. Marcus leaned forward, squinting at the screen. That's impossible. You're an analyst. I was. Then I became a partner at Morrison Financial. Then I launched my own firm. I clicked to the next slide. This is my personal net worth. $180 million. Ashley's hand went to her mouth. But. Mom started. You never said, you live in that apartment. You drive that old Honda. I live in a penthouse condo at Harborview. The Honda is for family visits. My actual car is a Mercedes S-Class. I clicked again. This next slide shows every financial transaction I've made on your behalf over the past 6 years. Shall we review? The spreadsheet filled the screen. Line by line. Payment by payment. Mortgage payments to parents. $201,600 utilities support. $28,800 Marcus mortgage payoff. Anonymous $180,000 Ashley business grant. Anonymous $75,000 Dad's car lease payments. $61,200 emergency loans. $38,400 medical bills. $23,000. Total support provided. $608,000. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. You've been. Dad's voice cracked. All this time. While you called me irresponsible, I said evenly. While you claimed I never contributed. While you told me I was the family disappointment. I clicked to the next slide. This is the promissory note you wanted me to sign. For $50,000. For emotional labor. Mom's face had gone white. And this, I clicked again, is the documentation of fraud committed against me. The screen filled with credit card statements, loan documents, business registrations. All in my name. None authorized by me. Credit cards opened fraudulently. $67,000 forged loan cosignature. $142,000 fraudulent business partnership. $38,000 in undisclosed liabilities total identity theft. $247,000. That's not. Marcus stood up. We were going to pay you back. With what? I asked. The money I was secretly giving you? You never told us. Ashley burst out. How were we supposed to know? You weren't supposed to commit identity theft, I said quietly. That part should have been obvious. Dad found his voice. You deliberately hid your success from us. You watched us struggle. You weren't struggling. I clicked to another slide. Bank statements. They're bank statements. This is your account activity. The month you claimed you were desperate for mortgage help, you spent $8,000 on a vacation to Napa. The week you said you were drowning in bills, you bought a $3,500 outdoor kitchen island. More slides. More evidence. Every time they'd claimed poverty while spending my support money on luxuries. And this, I said, pulling up the final document, is the report showing what you did with the $200,000 you collected from relatives by claiming I was managing a family investment fund. Aunt Carol's $50,000. Cruise to Alaska, new furniture Uncle Tom's $75,000. Lake house down payment, new car cousin Jennifer's $30,000. Home renovations Grandma Helen's $45,000. Jewelry designer clothes. I've prepared individual reports for each of them, I said, showing exactly how you spent their money while claiming I was the financial expert managing it. Mom started crying. We were going to pay them back eventually. With what? I repeated. You have no income stream. Marcus's dealership is failing. The only reason it survived this long is because I was covering his lease payments. Ashley's boutique has been operating at a loss since day one, surviving only on the grant money I provided. And your house. I've been paying the mortgage for 6 years. This is. Dad stood, bracing himself on the table. You can't just abandon your family. You told me I was dead to you, I said. You told me not to contact you. I'm simply honoring your wishes. We didn't mean. You meant every word. I closed my laptop. Here's what happens next. First, all support I've been providing ends immediately. That already occurred on Monday. Second, I've filed fraud reports on every illegal account opened in my name. Federal investigators are involved. Third, I've notified all family members who invested in your fake fund about where their money actually went. They're filing their own lawsuits. You can't do this, Marcus said desperately. We're family. I walked to my desk and picked up a folder. Inside were printed copies of their texts, their demands, their insults. Every "you're a disappointment." Every "you never contribute." Every dismissive comment over 6 years. This is what you said to me, I said, dropping the folder on the table. This is how you treated the person who was keeping you afloat. You made your choice last Sunday. Sarah, please. Mom stood reaching for me. We made a mistake. We didn't know. You made thousands of mistakes, I corrected. You committed identity theft. You forged signatures. You defrauded your own relatives. You treated me like a failure while stealing from me. I walked to the door and opened it. Security will escort you out. What about the mortgage? Dad asked desperately. The cars? Ashley's business? What are we supposed to do? I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who was supposed to protect me, who instead had stolen my identity and ruined my credit. I don't know, I said. But you'll figure it out. You're adults. You're independent. You don't need support from your disappointment daughter, remember? Marcus tried one more approach. The family investment fund, we need to make that right. If you help us pay back the relatives, we'll confess everything, we'll make it right. No, I said simply. You'll make it right using your own resources. Or you won't. That's not my problem anymore. Sarah, please. Ashley was sobbing now. I'll lose everything. Like you were willing to let me lose everything when you registered your business under my social security number? When those debts came for me, what were you planning to do? She had no answer. Goodbye, I said. My attorney will be in touch regarding the criminal charges. You have about 72 hours before the federal investigation moves forward. I suggest you get your own lawyers. Security appeared at the door. "Ma'am, please escort these people out of the building. They're not to return." I watched them leave. Mom crying. Dad shaking. Marcus and Ashley in shock. Then I closed my office door, sat at my desk and exhaled. My phone buzzed. A text from Richard Morrison. The mortgage company called them. "Foreclosure proceedings begin in 30 days without payment. Thought you'd want to know." I didn't respond. The fallout was immediate and comprehensive. 72 hours post-confrontation. Mom and Dad's house went into pre-foreclosure. Without my monthly payments, they couldn't cover the mortgage. The bank moved swiftly. Marcus's luxury car dealership had their entire inventory repossessed when the lease payment bounced. The dealership closed within a week. The forged loan I'd reported meant he was now under federal investigation. Ashley's boutique had its bank accounts frozen due to the fraudulent business registration. Her suppliers demanded immediate payment for the $38,000 in outstanding invoices. She couldn't pay. The relatives who'd invested in the family fund filed a joint lawsuit against my parents for fraud and misrepresentation. The amount, $200,000 plus damages. 1 week. Federal investigators contacted me for a formal statement about the identity theft. I provided them with everything. Every fraudulent credit card, every forged signature, every piece of documentation Patricia had compiled. The investigator, a woman named Agent Martinez, looked at the evidence and shook her head. "This is one of the most comprehensive family fraud cases I've seen. They did this for years." "Yes," I said. "And you were supporting them financially the entire time?" "Yes." "Why?" I thought about that. Because I thought that's what family did. I was wrong. 2 weeks. Marcus called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered by accident. "Sarah, please, you have to stop this. The federal investigation, they're talking about criminal charges. I could go to prison." "You forged my signature on a $142,000 loan," I said calmly. "That's a federal crime." I was desperate. The dealership was failing. "So you committed fraud." "We're family." "You keep saying that word. I don't think you know what it means." He started crying. "Please. I have kids. Think about your niece and nephew." "I am thinking about them," I said. "I'm thinking about how you were willing to destroy my credit, my financial future, my entire life to save your failing business. What kind of example is that for them?" "I'll pay you back. Somehow. I'll find a way." "Marcus, you can't pay me back. You have nothing. Your house is mine, I paid off the mortgage. Your dealership is gone. Your credit is destroyed. You're likely facing federal charges." I paused. "You did this to yourself." I hung up. 3 weeks. Mom sent a letter. Actual handwritten letter delivered to my office. "Dear Sarah, I don't know what to say except I'm sorry. We were wrong. So wrong. We didn't see you clearly. We didn't value you. We took advantage of your generosity and then blamed you for not doing more. The house is going to foreclosure. Your father and I are moving in with his sister in Idaho. Marcus and his family lost their house. Ashley's boutique closed. Our lives are falling apart. I'm not asking you to fix it. I know we don't deserve that. I'm just asking you to understand that we never meant to hurt you this badly. We were thoughtless, selfish, and cruel. But we loved you. We still love you. If you can ever forgive us, please let us know." I read it 3 times. Then I filed it with the other evidence. 30 days. The federal investigation resulted in charges. Identity theft, fraud, forgery. Mom and Dad were facing up to 5 years. Marcus was facing up to 10 because of the loan amount. They took a plea deal. Guilty plea, restitution payments, probation. No prison time if they could prove they were actively working to repay their victims. The relatives' lawsuit settled. Mom and Dad signed over their life insurance policies, their retirement accounts, everything. It still wasn't enough to cover the full $200,000. Ashley filed for bankruptcy. Her boutique's debts were discharged, but she lost everything she'd built. My credit was restored. The fraudulent accounts were removed. My score climbed back up 120 points. And I sat in my office looking out at the city feeling nothing. I'm at a charity gala for the Seattle Children's Hospital. My firm donated $2 million to their new wing. I'm wearing a Tom Ford gown and talking to the governor about education funding. My phone buzzes. A text from a number I don't recognize. This is Marcus. I know you probably won't read this, but I wanted you to know I got a job. Warehouse work. $18 per hour. Sonest. I'm paying child support. I'm rebuilding. You were right about everything. I'm sorry I couldn't see it before. I hope you're well. I stare at the message for a long moment. Then I type back, good luck. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just acknowledgement. Another text comes through, this one from Ashley. My therapist suggested I reach out. Not to ask for anything. Just to say I understand now how badly we hurt you. I'm working retail. Started paying back the suppliers I owed. It'll take years, but I'm doing it. You deserved better from us. I don't respond to that one. The gala continues. Someone asks me about my family. We're not close, I say simply. And move on. Later that night in my penthouse I look at my bank statements. Wells Capital Management had another record quarter. $31 million in profits. My personal net worth has climbed to $207 million. I think about the $608,000 I spent supporting people who called me a disappointment. About the years I spent hiding my success to avoid their exploitation. About the moment they literally told me I was dead to them. And I realized something, they were right about one thing. That version of me, the one who quietly accepted their abuse while secretly keeping them afloat, is dead. The woman who remains is someone different. Someone who knows her worth. Someone who doesn't hide her success or shrink herself to make others comfortable. Someone who understands that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who values you, who sees you clearly and loves you anyway. My chosen family. My business partners, my real friends, my mentors. They threw me a surprise party last month when I closed a $90 million deal. They celebrated me. They saw me. That's what family actually looks like. I get one final text that night. From Dad. I know you won't believe this, but losing everything taught me something. You were the strongest person in our family. You always were. We were just too blind and selfish to see it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I finally see you clearly. You were never the disappointment. We were. I read it twice. Then I delete it. Some bridges once burned aren't meant to be rebuilt. Some lessons need to be learned in the dark, alone, without rescue. I made my choice that day in their dining room when they handed me that promissory note. When they told me I was dead to them. I chose myself. And I'd make the same choice again. 1 year later, Forbes runs a feature, 30 Under 35, The New Faces of Finance. My photo is on the cover. The article details Wells Capital Management's unprecedented success rate, my innovative investment strategies, my $250 million net worth. The article mentions I come from a modest background and built everything myself. That's not quite true. I did have help once. I learned everything I needed to know about what not to do from the people who were supposed to teach me about family. Sometimes the best education comes from the worst teachers. My phone doesn't ring with congratulations from Idaho or from my siblings' new addresses. I don't expect it to. Instead, my business partner texts, "Drinks tonight? We're celebrating you." My best friend calls, "I'm so proud of you I could cry." My mentor emails, "You've exceeded every expectation. Well done." That's my family now. The people who saw my potential and helped me build it. The people who celebrated my success instead of exploiting it. The people who showed up. I text back my RSVP to the celebration dinner. And I don't think about the $608,000 at all.